I spent $9,500 on my family's 40th anniversary party. Lights, open bar, private chef. Aunt slid. Your name's not on the final guest list. A vibe thing. Mom said it'll come. I phoned the bank, flagged every transaction, locked the event account, and revoked the liquor permit. On the big day, the chef was absent. The lights were off. Dad phoned me 14 times. I said when I picked up. Something clicked between my aunt stating it's a vibe thing, and my mom's cryptic "you'll get it one day." My brain wires crossed at that moment, and I stopped caring. Stop hosting lazy BBQs with tepid pasta salad and folding tables in April's uneven backyard. Real this time. A appropriate occasion. Something to recall. I proposed it to my folks during supper. My volunteering shocked them, but they nodded. You sure you can handle that? My dad muttered. My mom urged me not to worry if it didn't work. Jenna said cool? If you need assistance, let me know. Jenna said, meaning nothing. Except for herself, she never assisted. But I did it. Private chef specializing in French-American fusion was hired. I locked a jazz trio. We rented lighting, tables, tablecloths, and a bar. I paid deposits, wired suppliers, and double-checked everything since no one else would. $9,500. The night I saw my credit card statement, I was out that much. Like they were steering the ship without me while I did all the heavy lifting. I dropped out venue paperwork to my parents 2 weeks before the wedding. Jenna and my Aunt Rose were drinking drinks and browsing through printouts at the kitchen island. Rose nonchalantly mentioned they were completing the guest list when I inquired. I stopped and asked what she meant. Making sure it suits the atmosphere. A tailored experience. Then she laughed. Nothing personal. Scrolling down the list. My name wasn't there. I inquired whether it was wrong. She remained silent. Roger, it's not like that, Jenna responded, looking at her. We simply want to maintain vitality. You're not mad? Without saying anything, I left. I drove about for an hour trying to understand. I planned the whole thing. My name was on every contract, deposit, and detail. They excluded me. On purpose. Like I didn't belong. It stayed with me. The following morning, I contacted the bank. I disputed every event-related transaction as improper. I froze event funds. I informed the chef by phone. Since it was personal, he canceled and returned the deposit. The lighting crew too. Similar to the jazz trio. The liquor license? Voided it by calling the county office. They hadn't paid the last fees. I cleared the area. On the big day, I remained home. Made pancakes. Music played. Naped. Texting began at midday. Calls follow. Foodware. Jenna messaged. Marcus, why is the bar closed? Then Dad. 2 hours. 14 missed calls. Finally caught up. What was happening on? Why nothing was put up? Why chef never arrived? What prevented alcohol service? His panicked voice suggested he was still trying to think it was a mistake. Guess I'm not in the vibe, I told him. I terminated the call. Then everything changed. Fallout began slowly. No one wanted to confess it. No word for the first couple days. Silence, like they were too shocked to decide who to blame. Then the texts arrived. My sister Jenna wrote a lengthy piece beginning with A, and ending with "We didn't believe you'd take it personally." I remained silent. Aunt Rose said on Facebook that she would keep her resentment. My mom left me a message saying she missed me and things went out of hand. Dad never phoned back. I assumed that was all. Teaching accomplished. I hoped they'd reflect and apologize. Then I understood they didn't believe they'd done anything wrong. I changed things. I stopped paying Jenna's mortgage first. I was responsible for the final 6 months since she was between jobs and things were tight. Never made a huge deal. She said thanks with her customary entitlement when I paid her money every month. But this time I stopped. 2 weeks passed before she noticed. She phoned without asking how I was. Just told her payment rejected, confusing her. It wasn't my issue anymore, I informed her. She hung up after quieting down. My dad's medical costs followed. Since his bypass last year, I've helped pay for his many medicines. No thanks again. It was anticipated. Like I owed them. However, they made it apparent I wasn't family. Not in the important manner. I also pulled back. Instead of speaking out, I let the invoices come unpaid. A month later, my mom sent a group SMS. Hi family. We're struggling financially. Please assist with Dad's prescriptions this month. Even $50 helps. I remained silent. I went over the edge when something occurred. My first automobile. My college mate Brian and I repaired a '94 Celica. No room at home, so I stored it in their garage. It vanished. I stared at the vacant garage place for a minute before calling my dad. He spoke casually, as if nothing had occurred, asking where my automobile was. A pause. He said we sold. Years have passed since you used it. I assumed it was dusting. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I stood there in quiet, my phone still in my grasp, trying to understand how they sold the one item I wanted them to keep secure. A meaningful automobile. Memory, not money. It was my. It was then I decided to quit. Stop calling. Support ends. Stop being the neglected son who bends over backwards for mockers. Because they did. I heard what my cousin said while I wasn't listening. How tense I was. How I always strived to fit in. They always didn't consider me one of them. I didn't notice it until today. From then on, I was freezing. In the third month, distance became an erase. My name vanished from group conversations. Old family topic on Facebook quieted. My cousin Devin mistakenly shared me a screenshot intended for someone else, revealing they constructed a new one without me. I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't want to burden her. She mentioned the home seemed strange lately. Jenna was laid off from her work. Again, she sought out because she wanted money, not to catch up or ask how I was. Rent was missing. Her automobile required work. She selected her words carefully. Not an apology, but forced nostalgia. She sent our childhood picture, missing those days. I know things have been crazy, but I need assistance now. Just till next month. Read the message twice. I remembered her laughing when Aunt Rose stated I wasn't part of the vibe. Reminded me of all the times I saved her without appreciation. I remained silent. She tried again the following day. Please, Roger, you've always kept things together, she said. Left it on read too. A few days later, cousin Marcus called. Not picked up. Another from Mom. My dad's text was the most surprising. Roger, you're mean. Not how family treats family. I lingered on that one. The nerve. I was nasty after all they did. I didn't respond. I checked the Celica title to confirm. Yes, they sold it to a person 2 towns over. Transferred ownership using Dad's name. I could have charged. I nearly did. But I knew I didn't want that type. I didn't like courts or cops. I wanted them to suffer their own misery. To slowly and totally experience being excluded, undervalued and erased. Their situation wasn't good. Jenna sought a roommate in a local Facebook community. Commenters roasted her. She allegedly sought to increase the rent for a tenant. My mom's GoFundMe barely reached $300 when my dad was hospitalized for blood pressure concerns. Despite her 3 posts, most of the family merely enjoyed it without adding. Nothing happens when the person who held everything together leaves. I stopped stepping up. I continued working, saved, and looked for a new apartment with a garage. I want space. Personal space. Mentally and emotionally. I could close the door on everything behind me. An unfamiliar number called me one night. Without thinking, I replied. It was Aunt Rose. She stated we spoke. A family. We want to go on. We need you to realize you've damaged folks. I remained silent. She persisted in claiming I'd overreacted. To allow one misunderstanding become poisonous. I was very sensitive. Too sensitive. It hit hard. I hung up mid-sentence. Then I understood this wasn't a phase. Not a battle to settle. This break was complete. It was okay with me. Rope frayed for years. They didn't understand I'd given up. It had been nearly 6 months since the anniversary accident. I assumed they'd let everything die off. Stop texting. Stop calling. Even Jenna ceased pleading when the well ran empty. I wasn't chilly for fun. I ultimately realized that nothing I did for them would get me a place at the table. But then something odd occurred. Saturday afternoon brought a letter. Not email. Authentic, handwritten, stamped envelope. I assumed it was from my granny, but that wasn't her handwriting. My cousin Devin sent it. Only one page of paper was inside. He requested a meeting. In person. Said he wanted to inform me but wouldn't write. He felt bad. This vehicle incident was more than it seemed. At first, I felt it was a ruse to make me forgive everyone. Something about the letter felt off. Like he was afraid. He answered the first ring when I phoned. His voice shook. He insisted we meet quietly. We chose an off-highway eatery. She located someone online who wanted a fast deal and utilized the $3,000 to pay off a debt she'd been concealing. My dad discovered out later, but took the blame to protect her. He didn't want to lie. Your mom advised him to claim it was his choice to avoid family strife. I remained silent. Devin babbled, expecting me to shout. However, I just felt chilly confirmation. Asking what he meant. He mentioned hearing Aunt Rose and my mom talk. They wanted my grandmother's will changed. She left me a lake cottage years ago. It was little yet significant. She took me there as a youngster, saying it was my retreat. My name was on the paperwork. They tried to move it. Quietly. Something snapped within me. Monday, I rose up, left cash on the table, and went to the county records office. Sure enough, the act was investigated the week before. Someone impersonating me. They attempted to fake the documents. I secured everything after 2 weeks and a lawyer. I had to provide identification, register an alert, and password protect property-related access. Without telling them, I knew. I wanted them to discover it too late. I realized this wasn't dysfunction then. It was stealing. Manipulation. It was evil. Not merely left me out of a party. They sought to eliminate me from the family and grab my valuables. I wasn't mad. My body cooled. I updated all accounts. My number changed. Create a trust. I moved to a house with a garage. No one obtained the address. Then I waited. Because taking more from them makes them more desperate. Always desperate people creep back. Earlier than expected. I was at a boring financial meeting at work when my phone flashed an old number. Jenna. I let it ring. She texted after calling an hour later. Hey. Yes, strange things happen. Can we talk? A knock on my door the following morning. Jenna. In person. I have no idea how she discovered my address. She looked bad. Like she hadn't slept in days. Her makeup was smeared and eyes inflamed. She began chatting on the threshold without waiting for me to welcome her in. She requested assistance. Her vehicle was repossessed, she was 3 months overdue on rent, and here was the kicker. She was sued for fraud over a bouncing check she issued for our dad. I remained silent. She persisted. Just another favor, Rock. One time only. Please. I'll repay you, vow. She wasn't sobbing. But she wanted me to feel near. Does she recall selling my car? She froze. That wasn't it. I thought you didn't care anymore. I exited and shut the door. I informed her of all my knowledge. Devin. The whole cabin inquiry forged. Like a youngster caught stealing sweets, she gazed at me in shock. I've never heard her utter something that crazy. You're still family. You should assist us. That term again. Us. Those who chuckled at my exclusion. The individuals who sold my vehicle, attempted to steal the cabin, blamed me for everything, and believed I owed them since I was their blood. I didn't shout. I wasn't theatrical. I informed her it wouldn't happen. No more favors. Stop protecting her from her mess. She implored. She became furious. Said I was selfish. But I wasn't sad. Not as anticipated. I stayed calm. Detached. When you stop following those who've closed the door, you discover stillness is more calming than noise. The funeral ended. I followed it via images uploaded by others. I saw phony tears, filtered eulogies, and relatives who never visited my grandma clutching flowers like extras in a TV show. Learning how to restore that old lake cottage they tried to forget existed until they stole it. After 3 weeks, the apology arrived. In some way. Group video call. Jenna started it. She must have encouraged my folks to heal. I first remained silent. Something told me to pick up when they tried again the following night. I clicked. Except, he claimed they wanted to move on, that they missed me, that things escalated and they may have handled it poorly. He wished I was larger. Jenna spoke up. She apologized. If I was excluded, I gave money without inquiry because I was tired of scrambling, tired of their arrogance's effects. I grinned. No, I said. I wouldn't apologize. I wouldn't assume things could return to normal. No. I wouldn't join a taker family. Dad inquired whether I was ending things permanently. Yes, I had. I terminated the call. I never heard from them again. Nothing major happened. No major issues. Just silent. A growing quiet that became permanent. They likely still tell anybody who would listen their tale. I turned away. That I let money separate us. My ungratefulness. I know the truth. I spared the family. Finished pretending it existed. A year passed. I last talked to them a year ago. No calls. Not a message. No surprises. At least until last week. I eventually went to the cabin. I hadn't been since my granny died. Unsure of what to anticipate. Maybe dust, maybe stillness. I was surprised to see what was behind a loose floorboard in the bedroom closet. A letter. In my grandmother's hand. Dated 5 years ago. She stated that she expected the family to steal the cottage. When they saw something precious, they circled like vultures. I never asked for anything, so she left it to me. I visited. Because I heard. She never felt burdened by me. Come here if they turn on you, she said. You always own this land. I read the letter 3 times on the floor. She seemed to be right next to me again, pouring tea in the kitchen and humming a melody I didn't know. So maybe they tried to force me out. Perhaps they lied, stole, and abandoned. But they lost. This isn't their tranquility. They don't know what it's like to live without fear. To wake up without dreading a love-themed money call. Knowing who you are without requiring permission to feel valid. Certain individuals are family-born. Others construct. I've begun doing it with friends who show up, kind coworkers, and neighbors who remember your name. Chapter with my family? Now closed. This is the best finish I could have hoped for.